OMG, hi Faye. How are you? Here before the disco message? Yes ma'am, you are. How you doing? How are you guys? I normally give about like 3 minutes before I send the Discord message because I don't know if you guys know, I have a habit of brushing my teeth before stream. So that takes around like 3 minutes. So like the first 3 minutes are like it's like a free game before I send the Discord message. So I'm sending that. But hello. How are you all? I have no sound on. Are my headphones even connected? No, they're not on. Okay, now they're on. I'm so glad. Everything seems so freaking quiet. There we go. Hi guys. Today we are playing Star Rail because it's Star Rail and our new father has. Bro, I'm trying to say the father. Mello first. Hi Mello. Damn, not first. Technically, Mello, you kind of are the one who said first, like collected the first. If I forgot. But how are you? Have you been? We're playing today, first of all, is August 30th. We're getting closer to when we have to start school, which is kind of scary. I'm not excited about that, but you know. I need to log into my thing. Also, this month is almost over. Imagine next thing you know, we turn around, it's like, it's friggin' 2024. I'm good. Oh, that's good. Just listening to your friends. Oh my gosh, tell them I say hi. Actually, but not really. But I'm glad you're doing good. Me, I'm doing alright. I'm getting like the... What's it called? Like, I don't know how you call it, but like it's right before school when I get like really mentally just fucked up. Yeah, so that's happening. But you know, we're cruising. I have a lot of stuff planned like this week and next week, so like before school starts, I'm excited for that. Oh no, not school. School, yeah. How are you feeling? Like that. It's like a iffy back to school fever. I don't know actually. Because I always thought that back to school fever would be like happy, excited, like you really want to start it and all that stuff. But like being in university or like in college, like completely. Well, sometimes you may be excited to go in, but like for me, I'm in like a top rated university, so like it's all about grades and like how well you do and shit like that. So it's okay, we'll make it through. If I go MIA and like streaming, you guys know why. But I'll try not to. But how are you, Mello? It's been a while. I've been seeing like your little streams. Like you like stream right before I go to bed. It's like I click in for a little bit, but then I like fall asleep. Yeah, those are the commercial fish stores want you to think. Well, that's true. But also, like always, when I was like younger, I was always like so excited to go to school. And like the first day of school, you know, getting your school supplies, starting off everything. And of course that like excitement only lasted like a month. But like you never get like depressed because of school. Because like in elementary school, your grades don't matter. You're still gonna go to like high school. In high school, it's like a little bit more serious, but like even if you do bad, I mean, you can still get into post-secondary. It may not be at the level you want, but you could still get in and then work your way up. And like university, if you fail, you fucking fail, bro. If you don't get your degree, you're not getting a good job. Yeah, but falling asleep around the time you start streaming, so oh no! But I've been good. This kid's a year. Are you gonna fall asleep soon? If you accidentally fall asleep like during this stream, I hope you have like good rest. Mello, I don't even mind if you fall asleep, bro. Use this as your background music. We're like opposites. I feel like so many people either going to sleep or waking up depending on like, cause I stream in the morning. If you guys want to see like a later stream one day, I can do like a later stream. I feel like that would be fun. I'm looking forward to college again because I've been stuck home too long. Honestly, Faye, yeah, that's one of the biggest like other feeling. Like you have stuff to do now. It's like the only other feeling you have. What are you most excited for, Faye? Besides like that, like do you like see your friends, homework? I feel like I'm the only one excited to actually have like work like stuff to do now. I have no clue. Oh no, I haven't slept yet, so it may hit me soon, but I feel wide awake. It's always when you feel wide awake. Honestly, Mello, you feel wide awake, you lay down, 2 seconds, you're out. It's always when you feel this. Next, do you have a soothing enough voice to fall asleep? Imagine. See, that's why I don't stream at night, because I know half of y'all will fall asleep. And even though I don't mind that, I stream to talk to you guys. But if I stream at night and you guys fall asleep, I have no one to talk to. I was my friend. Aww. And I'm looking forward to the group project. Is it fake? Do you have like a different project every year, or do you like continue like what you did from last year? I do it going to uni. Really? Having the work to distract myself from life. Honestly, that's true. But then like once you actually like think about life after the work stops being distracting, then you realize how much everything is. But that's like the one thing. You get stressed because of life, but then you have homework, and then you get stressed because... I feel like the stress because of homework is a lot more manageable than like the stress because of life, you know? It sounds cool and the people in it... I need to make this bigger. It sounds cool and the people in it I hadn't spoken to before, but I've been messaging with them. Oh, that's... Excuse me. That's fun to hear. You're gonna have a great year. Oh my gosh. We're gonna like be here and then Faye's gonna talk about how great her year is, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Bless you. Gracias. Look at him. I want him. We have 4 projects a year. And the last one this year is a major one that turns me. Oh. So the last one is worth more. Or worth the most. Because like there's some things where like the like other work you do during the year doesn't matter. But then the this music seems too loud to me. The last project you have determines like your entire grade. So that's just like, why do we do all of the other work for? I do think later should be interesting. Oh, even if it's just a few hours later than you're used to doing. I was thinking of streaming later on, when was it, Friday? Because when I first started streaming, I actually did stream like later on in the day. Like 5 to 7 o'clock. Or like maybe even 8 o'clock. So like actually streaming in the morning is like a complete like flip around. I don't know if Narek would remember. Or Tofu. Those are like the only 2 people I can remember that were there when like I started streaming in the afternoon. And stuff like that. Only the last one counts for the years. Others just have to pass to keep going. So if you don't pass it, you get dropped from the school? Eyes? Mela, don't look at me like that. That means I actually have to stick to it. Don't look at me like that. I feel like the only game I can play in like the afternoon are like what's it called? Shooter games. Cause if I play comic games and I normally get tired in the afternoon, bro, I'm gonna be so quiet. The last project for the first year determined the final grade of that year, but Ramela, how have your streams been? Tell me about you. Let's talk about you now. The last projects of the first year determined the final grade of that. Oh. But you only use that grade if you feel. What? I'm confused. The last project of the first year determined the final grade of. Oh. So then, if you don't drop out the second year, you don't use that grade? To be fair, the projects are very hard to not pass. I see. So they make it purposefully easy. Prerequisites? Oh, we can do this guy's one. We're gonna do our dailies first. Look at him. He looks so pretty. That's why I do my streams later in the night. Oh, I've used my sound yet. That way, so I'm not just laying around doing that. That's smart, Mellow. Plus, I entertain my target audience of night owls and giving people something stupid to listen to. Honestly, that's nice, Mellow, because, like, at least later on in the day, like, when you're doing stuff, you always want something going on in, like, the background. And you're fairly calm as well. Like, it's always nice just to have your stuff playing. Maybe I should take advantage of that and stream later on to give people to sleep. It's like, oh, why do you have this many viewers but like only this many chatters? Yeah, like fucking 75% of them are sleeping right now. Also, if people are in like different time zones, I feel like it'd be better. So like they're not like, you know, sleeping. Like, you know. Hi, cousin. Hi, Dre. I'm sorry. I think my allergies are fucking with me. How are you, Dre? How are you doing? Like, oh my gosh, is that Aya? I always thought your name was Marshmallow. I know it's Mallow Marsh, but like my head says Marshmallow. Mwah, mwah. I love you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the like. You get a qualification at the end of year 1. A qualification? It sounds like you at a job. Missions? You get a better qualification using the year 2 final project grade? Damn! EU system is different. You're EU, right, Faye? I hope so. If you're not, ignore me. I'm gonna just stop by because I got school tomorrow. Oh no! You have school? I hope school goes well, Jay. Like, good night, Jay. I hope school tomorrow goes well. Good night, good night. England? Yes, ma'am. That is different. I am gonna lie to you. It's confusing. So then you only have 2 years? No, you have more than 2 years. So then, like, what if, like, why did it change? So then if you go on, like, a 3rd year, you get, like, a 3rd year qualification? I work during the day on editing and adult stuff. Do you like being an adult, Mellow? And then stream at night to be a gremlin and play card games. Mellow, you know what you should play? Dungeons and Dragons. For no reason. It's not because I definitely want to watch it and watch the game. But that's honestly smart. I'm the opposite. I like doing my stream stuff and getting it done within like the morning, and then like I have the rest of the day to like worry about adult stuff and like everything. Even though I feel like your adult stuff is more adult stuff than my adult stuff because I'm a very child adult. Girly, I do. You do play Dungeons and Dragons? Mello, you have to let me know when you play Dungeons. Like, explicitly be like, I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons, like, full caps. Because I've always been interested in the game, right? But recently I had read a book where the male main character played Dungeons and Dragons. And, like, the female male character, her best friend, like, sat around and, like, watched it because, her best friend husband was also playing Dungeons and Dragons, and like I sat there and like I read through the whole thing. I was like, this shit seems fun. I don't think I could ever play it myself, but like watching it or like reading about it. This is just a 2-year course, but you can do uni after. Oh, would you like? Are you planning on doing university, Faye? I should just in Dragons every Monday. You do? But this Wednesday. Actually, I might do it. When's next Monday? What's next Monday? Next Wednesday, the 3rd. No, the 4th. Actually, I probably can. I was thinking if I'm gonna be like, I think I might be doing my hair in the morning time, but you stream at night, so it should follow. It should be alright. What? Yeah, I was thinking that we had all 500. So this one. Yeah, oh my gosh. Are you excited for university, Faye? So college for you is kind of like high school. Because then you'd be studying university at like the quote-unquote regular time. I need to build up Blade. Kazu, I'm using your thing, even though Kazu's not here. Fuck yeah, I don't live with parents anymore. Well, yeah, for like the 3 to 4 years that you're in university. Bro, living on campus... I have the music off. Living on campus seems like the coolest thing. Show no mercy. Damn, that's loud. Was it loud for you guys? Is that volume okay? And it'll be around the same time I start taking Gale juice. My brain said it'll be around the same time we start getting more titties. I'm so sorry. Every time you talk about that, that's all I think about. I'll stop. I feel like it'll be a nice experience. It'll make you more, you know. Game audio's a little loud, not overtaking you, so I don't want it to be a little loud. Thank you, Mello. And if that's still too loud, I'll just turn it down off completely because I don't play music. If it helps, I usually do streams 5 p.m. PST. That's 3 hours behind me. Mello, what time is it for you? It's a bit earlier in the day compared to what I'm usually doing. I think PST is 3 hours behind. Hi Nick! How are you? How you doing, bestie? It's almost 8 in the morning. Okay, yeah, you're 3 hours behind. Cause it's almost 11 for me. Nick, do you remember, like... Actually, I don't know if you were here either. I think you could have been, but like I used to stream in the afternoon instead of like in the morning time. LMAO, it's fine, it's funny. It's like literally one of the best parts of being a female. I was gonna say it's like the one difference between females and males, but like males have titties. These ones are more fun because there's more you can grab. And we have cute clothes. And our clothes are fun. Wait a second. They increased it. What the fuck is this? Five minutes, okay. Guys, remember 5 minutes. Thank you for your monies. There's more store. Oh my gosh, guys, there's so much going on. I was sitting at my desk for hours rolling dice and making dumb luck. Rolling dice makes it sound like you gamble. Like, yeah, dude. I love rolling die on my desk. Get some kick-ass numbers. What do I get out of it? Cool characters, man. Cool characters.
Hiding out at the Divination Commission.
And giving them back. It's like it activates your brain juices. Oh my gosh, wait, speaking of titties, one more thing. You guys, okay, so you know how in this game there's like messages? I was messaging Kafka, right? Right? Okay, look. So we had to ask, where's the proof? Look what she said. She sent us a titty pic. Okay, that's it. Titties, yes, titties. We love titties. I always joke around with Faye. Oh my. Yeah, you see what I mean? I wasn't expecting that, but I mean, she said if you wanted it, you can have it. I said, but ma'am, we're not even special anymore because you probably send that to like millions of people. I mean, I do play IRL gacha games per se. Which is like, you play IRL gacha? What are IRL gacha games? Titties is not permitted term on this channel now? Oh yeah, I permitted it. Faye, literally, Faye, give me a chance. Why are you doing it before? I was wondering the first time, like I went to go click allow and it clicked, what? Tits are to be appreciated, all shapes and sizes. Amen, brother. Amen. Stay louder for the people in the back. That deserves a pin. Custom time, 20 minutes. I'm just doing my mod duty for you. Thank you. Where are you when they're supposed to be permitted other terms? Why are you only here when we permit the term titties? That's kinda suspicious. What? Did she lock him up? Oh, he's Mara's Chuck. She said, go to jail. She's the Monopoly man. I meant collecting cards as I'm opening packs and hoping to pull. Oh. Yeah, you a high school gambler, son. You. What's the most rarest card you've gotten, Memo? You play the game. I allow various ways of saying tits, but like they only LMAO mod as a mod should. No comment. What do you guys mean no comment? They only. What's the word called? Block the words that are like obvious, like titties, tits, boobs, the obvious ones. But if you say bazongas or honkers or knockers, they don't permit that. They don't block that. Well, clear out enemies, bro. Okay. Hello, sir. I've been told to get rid of you. Someone just walks in and then sees us talking about titties. It's too early for this. I have several pieces of real shiny cup. Oh! May I see a picture of these shiny cardboard pieces? But I fit more the hoarder kind of collector rather than rarity collector. I mean, if you like it, why not keep it? There's like nothing really. I feel like it's like only hoarding if it makes the place look messy. If your place looks fairly clean, or if you have like a little collection section for it, it's not really hoarding. I want to play Valorant, guys. I'm actually gonna like. I did the research the other day, and I found out that what I need is a proper CPU, but also like a proper cooling system, so the CPU doesn't like fucking die. And so I'm about to do that because I really want to play Valorant on stream again. Just a heads up, if I go MIA for like a week, it's because I had to dissect my PC. It's only hoarding if someone else finds out. Is that how it goes? I thought it was hoarding if like it looks miss. You know what they would have? Like, you know how TLC has those like 90 Day Fiance, extreme cheapskates and like stuff like that? You'd be on like an episode of Extreme Hoarders. I could show you shiny cardboard later on for sure. Hell yeah! For sure, for real, on God, broski. Sure, you right. I'm gonna have to take out my ex and she. Oh, I can do that for you. $50. Oh, $50. Faye, you're underpricing your what's it called? Your services. Only at $4. I mean, I could cover the other 46 for you if you want, my love. What the fuck?
A moment's excitement, nothing more.
Oh. I can do it for that, but for that price, I'm not making it look like an accident. Oh no. Oh yeah, casual life update. I don't know if I told you, but and then oh no. Oh man, I didn't know that. You just dropped a bombshell. Damn. As long as you're doing good. I know leaving like partners and stuff like that are never good. It's never fun. If I had to do that, I'd fucking die. Who needs it to be an accident if the body can't be found afterwards? But I mean, if it like an accident makes it like not as obvious as you doing it, you know? Body heading services aren't covered by the $4. Gonna have to do it yourself. At this point, you're gonna have to follow her to where the stuff is being done, and then do the other stuff yourself. You might as well just get rid of the person yourself at that point. I think bad really. Okay, that's good. Mutual breaks up, break. I'm sorry. Breakups are better because it doesn't, you know, fuck with your mental as much. At least I think. It's a difference in lifestyles and figured it's easy to break it off earlier so none of us neither. That is smart. Very smart. Very adult-like thinking. I do live by a canyon, so I know a pretty open place out the body. Don't listen to Koza, I need work experience. Well, I mean, if you need work experience, aren't you like an internship? Why you charging for it? If you're not like actually doing it.
As compensation for helping me. You don't have any questions?
Hello, hi Kazu, hi Kazu.
Sleep and then reawakened you. Abandoned you at the...
How are you? Kazu, we missed you.
Don't rush. We still have time. One rule though. Let's play. It's a game I play with still. One of my answers will... We don't have much time. Let's do...
Doing well. Oh my gosh, guys, the guys, it's the first time Kazu didn't say he was chilling. Oh my gosh.
But remember, one
We still live together, but just in. Ah, we got fairy kids to parent to. You're gonna be cute little co-parents. That's fun.
Oh, that's not what I give you mine. I'll go first to give you a... Oh, don't be
It's nice that you guys are on good terms, or like seem to be on good terms.
You can tell the truth.
It makes stuff a lot easier.
What do you...
I'm jealous of your breakup. Goddamn, mine didn't go that well. Mine was shit. What have you been doing well, Kozu? I've been chilling. I've been going through a little preschool fever.
Must lie the next time, and vice versa.
But you know.
Or I could just
Did you pull for Daniel Huntington? Is that his name? Daniel Huntington? No, I'm saving up. We're doing some primos right now. Not primos. I like you. I think you're pretty. Should we tell her I like her? You know the only reason I liked her? Okay. Honestly, I could care less about Kafka. If we're being pretty honest, if we're being pretty truthful, I could care less about her. Like, I could care less. Because I have two easy solutions to your breakup problem. Wait, what are your solutions? And where were these solutions? Freaking 4 to 5 months ago.
You're hiding your feelings. Well, I'm afraid we'll have to put our game of truth and lies on pause.
I'm just living that sweet single life. He's single and ready to mingle. It's on the table, boys and girls. Skull emoji Kazu. Why are you skull emojiing? Being the ASAP that lives all the time with fans because reactions from fans are hilarious. Mello, the more you talk, the more I realize that you and I are very similar. Because that was me. Poor Kafka texted to... What were we doing again? Y'all are so unserious. Unserious, Kazu? What do you mean? We're very serious right now. You don't believe us? Me as a hit woman, just be like me and be too socially anxious to ask anyone else in the first place. Can I do the first one? And actually, nah. Let's not. We don't. What we do is we don't go back to the past. I'll follow your second advice though. At least in the future though. Right now I'm chilling. I'm good with me. Damn, good life advice, right? Faye knows what's up. You know what I would have thought? I would have thought Faye was like a Virgo, because Virgos give good life advice. Giggles? Wait, are you saying it unserious because of the pinned comment? I forgot that was. That can be a part of it. You missed a beautiful chat we had. Beautiful chat. Skull emoji, yes. Cause what are you? I am a Virgo. So my birthday's coming up soon because we're in a Virgo season. But when is my birthday? I'm not telling you guys that. That's the third. I'm a Virgo. I do give it advice though. A lot of people come to me for advice, so that's why I'm more of a listener.
Always seems like infinite possibilities, but what is
Oh no, Virgo. What's that supposed to mean?
happen? This conflict is inevitable because the other
If it's any of a hint, I'm a September Virgo. I can't stand August Virgo. Well, it doesn't matter. My sister's friend is August Virgo. I can stand her. LML, I thought you were just gonna say I thought Faye was a virgin. Oh, that's true. That as well.
the game continues. Your turn.
So I get 2 questions, only one of which Kafka will answer truthfully.
Chat reflection streamer.
You won't know which answer is which.
It can mean whatever you want it to mean.
What should
What's that supposed to mean? Exhibit myself. Kafka's doing my head in. Can we just finish this, please?
Kafka? She's the one who put me on the astral.
Oh, our character's talking.
Everything about her is shredded.
I don't like the way she smiles at us. She looks weird. I don't trust her.
Because I have no mechanism for fear. There's an empty space
Her smile makes me uncomfy.
in my heart.
Wait, Kazu, have you pulled for Daniel yet?
No matter what
I see the look on your face.
I don't know what does it mean, Kazu. Mello, I feel like you're gaslighting me.
Do I sound? You don't believe me?
She's sending us on a wild goose chase. Come on, Bominos. Oh shit. Oh shit. This is the wrong team. Hold on a second. One. And then. Who was the last one? Gotta tell you. I fully admit the glasses up above the eyes, like are placed in the hair, does it for me. Like in a bad way, bro. It doesn't make Mellow. I'm glad you point that out, cause it doesn't make any sense. Those are not even proper glasses. Those are just like fucking clip-ons, and it looks tacky. Like if they were bigger, maybe we could have passed for like doing that, but it doesn't make sense. I just look at. Hi, Kieran. Hello. How are you? Actually, no. You said you're like. Thank you for the like. I hope you're doing well. Okay, I may be gaslighting you. Just maybe. It's okay. I'm used to being gaslit. I get gaslit in this chat a lot of the time. No, girly. I love it. You like them? Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Your opinion is respected. But if they're fake, then like them. I think they're fake because they're so tiny. It'll be like they're those like little glasses, you know, like those like tiny glasses that are like right on like they're like forehead, not forehead. They're like nose bridge. They just like sit like, but then she doesn't even wear them. She's probably those people that have like perfect vision but like still wear glasses because she thinks it's quirky. I got a gaslight gatekeep girl boss girlfriend. Listen, we do gaslight girl boss gatekeep here. We don't gatekeep with the girlies. If it's for the girlies, we don't gatekeep. If it's for any man, then yes, we gaslight. But I'm not a man. I don't know what you're talking about. And girl boss, well, we're always girl bossing and guy bossing. If you guys want a guy boss. Nothing will beat himbos, so I just hella nerdy, but they like big boys. I know I don't say I have a type, but Mel just described the type I have. They're just like empty in the brain, but like not empty in the brain. But then they're also just like, you know, SZA, just like big boys. Yeah. Gatekeeping? Can we gatekeep? Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. It's such a good time, right? I'm sorry. This is like a talk that we have over tea, but like just like not in public. Does it describe me? Yes. Does it mean I love myself? Absolutely. As you should. As you should, King. Self-love, the only love, the best type of love. But then if you're like below 5'7", then I don't know, man. I don't know if you. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Don't listen to me. I'm just being silly goose.
Well, you're doing a great. The future
Can
is so
someone tell
clear.
Casca to go away? This is what I want. Add a little bit of like, LMAO, I'm dead. Hi, Dad. It's nice to meet you. My name is Kozumi. You can call me Kozu, or Coco, or something along the lines. I don't mind.
Let's continue our game. It's my turn again.
You know what? You need to sprinkle in a little bit of emo, a little bit of e-boy.
Want to see me again?
What kind of
Add a little bit of emo-ness.
will we see each other again?
Black hair.
You know the
God damn. I'm a sucker.
whether I want to? Seems obvious to me.
I want to see Kafka again. As for whether I wanted to, she wants me? Damn, of course she wants me, girl. Who doesn't? No, I can't give a guaranteed height, but last time I checked, the go 6'1.5". God damn. Are like all of you fucking like 6 foot or something? And then Faye's like 5'10". Why are you guys so tall? I thought I was tall. Only calling you Zuma from now on? I mean, Faye, you can call me anything. W. Reyes from Kafka? Guys, one day, was Faye's taller than me? Bro, Faye's fucking tall. Kazu, last time she told me her height, and I was just like, and I thought I was tall. Okay, one day, if I feel really about it, I'll do a face reveal, like a face stream, because I have a lot of facial expressions that I talk with, and it's like a part of me that you guys really can't see. And like 90% of the time, I'm talking with my facial expressions, and I want you guys to be able to experience that for once. And I'll do it for like just like an hour, because like the amount of facial expressions I just did.
So, the answer is
Yeah. Miss Ma'am, I'm looking in the mirror as you're describing that, and tell me why you're just reading out my autobiography. I'm talking out like interest. Melo's just like, hey, that's me. I'm here. Respectfully, sir.
Okay.
5'10" is a pretty normal height.
What a surprise.
Faye, I don't know. Faye, for females, but not even gonna lie, being 5'10" would have been actually like kick-ass, because like
Is not what matters in this game.
you can see above everyone.
Question. Come see me when
Can I get a piggyback? I'ma drop a pic of myself during the fall so I could be dripped out without this heat. Oh my gosh. I feel like Kazu has
This is your last
W drip.
I don't know if Kafka
like,
But one thing's certain.
he's the type of person that seems like he doesn't dress up, but then like you go to school and like you see him like fucking decked out. You're just like, what are you wearing? You're just like, what? This is regular clothes, and like you actually look good, and you're just like, what? Facial expressions always make for great content, I believe. I say as someone who doesn't do face cam. No, Mello, you're right. But also it's mainly because me as like just generally speaking, I do talk a lot, yeah. But then like 75% of my talking is facial expressions. So if you're ever talking to me like IRL, or if you like can see my face, you'll see that like my face is moving more than my mouth does. And it's so hard to do it on stream as like someone who doesn't have a face cam, because then you guys don't like see half of what I'm doing. If you ever get a face reveal from me, it'll probably be me with someone else, because I don't like photos of me. Honestly, Faye, that one like the time you said like a picture showing your clothes and stuff like that, I'm just like, damn, Faye is actually really pretty. Respectfully. If I'm allowed to say that. Thank you, come to England. Actually, I'll book a ticket right now.
Kafka wants me to surprise her. Let's try this on.
Actually, but I have school. I'll book a ticket when I have reading week. Wait, Koji, can you do a good raised eyebrow face? Not the Wayne The Rock Johnson good, but like I can relatively raise my eyebrows somewhat. Why? Can you do a good eyebrow raise, Kazu? Speaking of piggyback, oh, I once gave my Japanese teacher, but your teacher? You can do stuff like that? During a fire drill, because she was like 4 or 5, she didn't want to be trampled. You can imagine just Mello, the teacher's on his back, and everyone's just like, what are you doing? She's like, hey, the teacher didn't want to get trampled. Thanks, I honestly forgot I said that for a second. Of course! I was like so excited. Clothes shopping is so much fun, and then you send the clothes, I'm just like, look at you go!
All without a second thought.
Can you do a Trump mugshot kind of raise? Why would you ask me such a thing? Which? God damn. If only he gave me a small loan of $1 million, then maybe I could do that. But I don't know, man. That's skull emoji. I'm with Kazu on this one. Damn, my boy Yanqing got no chill. Ain't no way. He don't like her. He's like, bitch, get off my turf. I don't know why the fuck you're here. Yangching just went for it. He's the type of kid that in front of the parents, he's like a goody two shoes, but then behind the parents, he's got the sailor's mouth. Like he's saying every curse known to mankind. Oh god, yeah. If only a small loan of $10 would be nice. I mean, $10, I can do a lot with $10. If I gave you an extra chicken nuggets, can we bump it up to like 11? Why is he beating up us? Why are we fighting him? I just realized that. Why isn't he? You know what they should have done? They should have had a little fighting scene between characters. Like they should have had him fight with Kafka. Cause the way doing head that did work. Oh. Oh, for what? I saw the notification on my phone, Faye, and I was like, oh my gosh, wait, what?
Show no mercy.
You're all in on it. Out of moves.
The dead return.
Sadly, the fuck you mean, sadly? You still look adorable.
Here is thunder.
You're not going anywhere. Cut through the ranks. Net markers activated. Time for a good old counter hit. Surprise! Phoenix!
Receive divinity. Repay.
I'm back. Those of me and that person I went and stayed with for 4 days. Y'all look like you're having fun. Oh my gosh. W-Riz? W-Riz on what? Why are you guys saying W-Riz?
You're not going anywhere.
I'm changing characters.
Punish evil.
You guys look like you're having fun. I'm excited. I'm happy for you. What characters do we need again? These are, okay. I'm like, wait, I can't multitask. Wait a second. Dunhong. And then we'll put her. And we're gonna go back. Do we go this way? No. Giggle, Kazu, why are you laughing? Kazu, I feel like you and Mello are like those kids in class that like they whisper to each other and like they giggle kikiing and all that shit, and the teacher's like, if you guys have something to say, you can share with the class.
Celeron hunters. The general was merciful enough to let
The sanctuary is but a vision.
sword heed me. Don't your hands hurt? Die this. Surprise! Phoenix!
Here is thunder. Receive divinity. The dead return. Repay.
Faye, stop messaging me. It's distracting me. Anyways, I said sadly because he looks way cooler. No, you guys both look cool. Give it some time and you'll look just as cool as him. I like the 240 fuel cap they added. I saw that. Kazu, when I saw that, it got me confused. But then it makes sense. Cause isn't in Genshin like 200 or something like that?
The sanctuary is but a vision.
I can compare myself to someone with a nose, eyebrow, ear piercing, and red hair. I mean, Faye, you had the possibility to do that.
Here is thunder.
Just like ask him what he does and all the stuff that they do in order to get there, and then you could be just like him. If you want to dye your hair. I mean, piercings are badass.
Conflict is
I have like 9 myself, so I wasn't like that in school, but I'm like that in Discord calls. Mello had a little bit of, oh shit, my headphone fell out. Had like a little bit of a character. What were you like in school, Mello?
show no mercy.
Genshin's 160. You're lying. They don't care about Genshin. Well, not anymore. Well, Kazu, you can't say that because like look what they just revealed, like a whole like ass new area. But then I feel like now they're focusing more on you know, Styro, because, you know, Styro is a newer game, at least. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt because Genshin was like one of their first bigger games. If you had to choose Kazu to play for the rest of your life, which game would you play? Of Hoyoverse. I'll say maybe just have a small, tiny, giant crush. You do? Are you gonna ask them out? I thought we said, actually, but no, you said just be socially anxious and not ask the person out. Faye, if you work up the courage to ask him out, I'll give you 5 extra chicken nuggets for dinner. I'll raise your chicken nugget thingy by 5. Starville, of course. Even after Fontaine. In school, I was the type of kid who was able to really talk to anyone. You were you were like the kid who got around, but like not in the like bad way got around, and like the good way got around, because like you were able to talk to everyone. I may stick to myself and watch everyone do their own thing from afar. That's honestly, you like people. People watching is fun. But you couldn't have defeated him yourself? Actually, no, you'd be a fugitive. Sam? Who the fuck is Sam? Kazu, who's Sam? Bro, I can't even play against you no more. Really? Is it cause there's no space? Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry. That was mean. That was mean. I heard nothing of what you said in response to the cross message because I accidentally clicked on a different stream. Sad. Sad emoji times 10. I just heard you read it and then I accidentally clicked off. So you just I feel heartbroken. I'm even gonna lie to you. I don't want to say that again. You're gonna have to watch the VOD. I'm not saying that again. I'm sad now. You don't know Sam? No, who's Sam? Please tell me, please. Please, I'd do anything. Tell me who's Sam. I'm a nosy person. Fine, I'll use a clip to BRB. I remember, guys, he remembers me. Did we write hair tuck? Guys, he remembers me. When even after he was Marshak, he still remembers you? People watching is fun, but people are... Yeah, people like them, it's just good to... Yeah, randomly fall. Honestly, I agree.
Every Stellaron hunter has a deal with Elio.
Either they fall and then you laugh first and then ask them if they're okay afterwards.
But I do know that Kafka
You'll see.
take orders from Elio.
Have you played the main story yet, Kazu?
Everything she does comes at a great cost.
No, don't go. Why is the end of his hair dyed red?
Till now,
That's weird. Why don't you just have it all black? Not even gonna lie, that's kind of an ick. That should look like you just dip it in red dye and like pulls it out after a second. Oh? Use the Vulture to deal the final blow in a victory. Wow. Which one did we just do? 8:30. 8. You chose to help Kafka? Well, I mean, in return for what she gave us, I've done every quest except the new one that just came out. And they talked about Sam? How do you know about Sam and I don't? I'm jealous. I hope Sam is a good guy though. Sam seems like he'd be a good guy. I'm never close enough to ask them if they're okay. You can't like send them a message like telepathically. Like, you know, Mellow, use like your brainwaves and then just like throw it towards them. Should we do some wishes? I usually people watch when I'm like building while eating or something. In a building. Oh, I was about to be like building. What are you building? You build Lego houses? You know what I want to build? The Lego flower. Excuse. Oh God. Excuse me. They mentioned him and he was shown in an animated trailer. Oh, I see. I don't watch those. Literally crying. I can't find a way to watch back the VOD lost. Okay, wait. Actually speaking, I don't know what's wrong with Twitch because every time now I have to like automatically, I think I have to check like my little like settings. Okay, we're at 14. We'll make it 15. My settings, because like I have to automatically like upload the VODs now. Not automatically, like manually do it, and like the game we played, it doesn't get updated to like 8 to 10 hours later. So it's like, it's so weird. But Faye, I'll leave that as a little surprise for you. Yeah, do wishes. Oh, you want me to do wishes? Danhang is very strong and easier. Actually, blessed me times twice. Thank you, times 2. Have you done his shot? I have. He's so sexy. We can do it again. I mean, I'm all for it. Actually, I'm not. But like, I did it this like earlier, Kazu. And he's actually really cool. I like the little like the thing where you're able to like press it and it like enhances your strength. And then you're like G.I. Joe. Fucking Millie Brock someone. Trailblaze mission? Oh, that's the main mission. Is that the new area? I ain't gonna lie to you guys, I kind of want to do that, but we're gonna. I'm so sad we didn't get this dude. What's his name again? Luca. Luca seems like a cute little white boy. I'm sad we didn't get them. Well, I'll respond to the tiny bit I heard. Oh, I want to ask someone at some point, but social anxiety says no. You know what, Faye? Don't let the social anxiety tell you no. You have to tell the social anxiety no. And if you do, and you're able to ask them out, I'll give you 5 extra chicken nuggets to your allowance. You got this. What's the worst? What's the worst? What's the worst he can say? What's the worst he can say? And if you guys are actually truly like chill best friends, and you know, nothing. His ult is clean, bro. His ult, chef's kiss. They're Kazu Hoyoverse. I feel like Kazu has a nose piercing. Shut up. Shut up. You're getting canceled for that. Because you have 9 piercings, we're at nose piercings are cool. Can you guys guess what nose piercing I have? So I have like 1 nose piercing and the rest are on my ears. I used to have my belly button pierced, but I took it out. So like I have a little scar above my belly button, but I think it's pretty cute. I got scared that if like I ever got like pregnant and stuff, so like I just fucking took out my belly button piercing. Nose piercings are cool, yeah. Ooh, you feed me for the first time now? Faye, what are you talking about? I feed you all the time. I want to get a second nose piercing, but probably like after I move out or something.
Generalship is no trifling matter. How could I be enjoying myself?
It's tempting because I got my friend into getting piercings and now she wants to get more piercings, but I'm just like, I want to stop, but I want to keep going.
Master Diviner, have you summoned us here?
I could never have them because I feel like I'd always feel it would be itchy.
Of course not.
Like nose piercings? Honestly, Faye, okay.
Here to thank you all, and
I don't know if I got lucky, but literally everything they said about nose piercings, I didn't get.
things have drawn to a conclusion.
Especially because I have like my septum and it's like right there and they said like it smells weird sometimes. I never gotten that. Or like it's so easy to clean because at least for me after like a couple months, like if you have like unscented facial moisturizer,
Sticks cheer your tears.
you can just use that. I don't try it because
Worn
it could
out.
get, if it gets infected, don't blame me. Like I do that all the time and
You are to be
it's
treated
fine.
with the
It doesn't get
highest
itchy though.
standards.
Actually, maybe sometimes. It's hard to blow out your nose sometimes. I hear people get their down there parts pierced alongside their nipples, and I'm like so confused why. Okay, I can understand nipple piercings, but getting down there pierced, I'm just like,
Tangible then? But at least it sounds
they definitely are not vanilla.
now that things
Australian
have been
lip?
expressed,
Australian lip?
I still have something to discuss with you.
What's the difference between regular lip?
Please,
Guys,
this way.
I want to get my tongue pierced. That's like one piercing I've always wanted, but I don't think I'll ever get, but like I'll forever want to get my tongue pierced. That's all I'm gonna say.
Seriously? Thanking us like that and then immediately
Lips down
sending us
there,
on
if you know.
another
That's what it's called?
It's not a mission.
It's too early for this. I mean, it does also depend what type of piercing it is. Like the one Moss has in the video. Doesn't Moss have their septum pierced? Yeah, because I have the same one. That doesn't really get itchy.
Having been in the middle of everything, I'm struggling to keep an accurate perspective. I would appreciate
I mean, sometimes it kind of does, but like, it's like those itches that like, it happens like really rarely. But it could be different. Like my experience and Moss's experience could be like different. Arush, are you sending me to...
that we may. But as
Isn't that a
long as
Reddit thing?
things might seem,
It's down there if you know. No, Kazu, no.
which we're unsure.
No.
For example, how was the Stellaron brought onto the scene gel? And who sent it?
A single word exclamation?
How many disciples of Sanctus Medicus still remain?
What?
at large? All of this is a mystery. Thus far, we've done our best. I'm submitting my report to the Alliance.
Oh,
I've already got a plan in mind.
over your head.
All of you will feature in the report. But for the sake of genuine,
I feel like only bald people do that.
will have names attached.
I'm sorry.
I hope you can
I'm sorry.
I was about to
They clit really?
since the
Okay, I feel like it would just constantly brush against the inside of my nose. Faye, I'm trying to convince you more and more to get it because like I got my septum piercing like on a whim. I went to the piercing shop before class and I was almost late for class and it was probably my favorite piercing. Okay, the only reason I feel it is because like I have a horseshoe, but like the ball is hard to screw off, so I just screwed off one ball and like completely turned it to the side, so I feel the ball like on the inside of my nose sometimes. But other than that, I forget it's there like half the time.
please make time to recuperate. If there's anywhere you'd like to
As someone who like has like a lot of piercings or like tattoos, I feel like that's the like my nose piercing, even though it's like right there, I forget it's if I'm not looking at a mirror, or like you'll notice, I don't know if Moss does this, but like people with septum piercings, they like push up their top lip and like kind of move their piercing. I don't know how to describe it. I do that a lot.
so chaotic. When Phantalia took form, it was as if
I know some people who got their clit pierced and it was just dumbstruck. Like how? Like where does the jewelry go? I'm confused as to like where the jewelry goes. And like it would hurt first off.
Baron Commission and it has to during
Like, what?
As for how matters are handled with regard
You can't even look at it. Imagine, like, every time you look at it, you have to, like, fucking man spread and, like... I'm sorry. Does Kozu have tats too? I do.
events which took place.
I'm technic... As Narek would call me, I'm the definition of an e-girl because I have, like, a lot of piercings and tattoos.
Leave it with us.
Just don't ask Olivia how many I have. Because Olivia knows the real number, and I kind of try to play it off, and then she yells at me all the time.
Quite the list.
Plus, my nose gets black pretty often, so I feel like it. Yeah, I feel that. But honestly, Faye, if you really love it, like, listen to me. I fucking congested, like, half the time. It's still kind of fun. Where do I have to go? Head to the place of ashram. Optional plant. You feel like so badass. The average baddie I see. Okay, wait, Kazu, slow down. Kazu, slow down. No one said I looked. No one said I'm a baddie. I'm not a baddie. I'm so opposite of a baddie. Is there a lazy baddie? Maybe we can. I can't run through that. Maybe you can get behind being that, but like other than that, no. Wait, hold up. I want to see some tats. That's so cool.
I will.
I don't know if I have pictures.
Our condolences, Hellmaster.
No, Kozu, probably a baddie. No, please, no.
Guests.
Let me set the bar low, please. Please. Let's keep the bar as low as possible, please. Is there I don't know if there's a way I can show you guys. I mean, I have a fucking camera that I can maybe turn on to show you guys.
Madam, you call must.
I feel like you'd see my t-shirt though.
Yes, I have heard.
Why lowered?
Seeing four
Why lowering denied? Your baddiness is too high.
was enough for me to
Why
know
did that rhyme so
Schwann's
much?
report was indeed correct.
No. Bar's already through the ceiling. Please, that's too high. No, guys. No, please. True? No, stop. You guys are raising your expectations and then it's like not even gonna be that great.
The whole report reads like
Top
a
tier?
joke.
Top your you know what I'm on top of?
The Antimatter Legion on the Xianzhou. And Ting Yun,
Can I?
Lord Ravager. How could someone who spent over years working alongside
Let's compliment you, Miss Ma'am. One thing you can't do is compliment me.
more than
But I mean, I'll try.
happened to the
Thank you guys for your compliments. I'm in depth to you. I'll bow down to you. You guys are amazing. I love you all so much. Thank you for
It's just hard
everything.
for me to accept.
Cause you're a great person. No, you're great there. You're so amazing. You guys are really. You guys are amazing people.
Back to the Palace of Astrum. The Stellar
Device. Oh, the device is out of play.
brothers, sisters, children.
Oh shit.
I'd like to invite all of you as witnesses to this war to a soul-soothing ceremony hosted by the Skyfaring Commission. You consider?
A soul-soothing ceremony?
Deactivate.
Short life terms. A funeral. You see,
Yeah.
the wildlife species of the Xianzhou,
That's not
death
working.
has always been a distant, mystical concept.
If I have a picture, I'll send you a picture of a few of them, Mellow.
Guides people to the Hall of
Cause
before any symptoms of Mara
full type.
They-
This is not
they
working.
leave behind their lives
Configure video. What the
before they
fuck?
come. People are used to a short farewell as opposed to a tedious burial process.
Bet, yes sir.
Limited lifespans. The only ones who
Remove.
place
Are
value
you sure
on
you want to
ceremony
move? Yes sir.
are as foxes.
You're very friendly and nice and kind.
Countless cloud
Really?
lost their lives or became Mara-struck.
Oh, thank you. Guys, stop, please. I can't take compliments well. Please, no. I get nervous.
Sudden deaths
Because I believe you're a beautiful person. I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. That was just a reflex. Bet, yes. I only know 5 good valid players in year 3 of them. Me? Hi, V. How are you? It's been a while. B, we need to play Valorant, please. Please. The new act is out. Can we queue together?
And send them out to sail between the stars.
How are you? How are you, B?
It's not just to comfort the dead,
If I get compliments IRL, I'm just like, no, Kazu, same.
but also to comfort their
But like, that's me like 24/7, because goddamn, I can't do it.
and indeed all residents of the Xianzhou. It's also my way of saying farewell to Ting Yu. I know, I'm selfish. She may not have died a Cloud Knight, but she's still one of us here at the Skyfaring Commission. A victim caught up in a wider conflict.
Wait, there's a new act? Yeah, it came out yesterday.
Hold the
You didn't know, B?
a way of distancing the memories
The new act, and then there's Refiner blocked.
tarnished her identity.
Oh, it's because the fucking thing blocked it.
They believe it. I'll use my own methods to locate Ting Yun's whereabouts.
B, it came out yesterday.
This is the least I can do for her. I'd like to ask you all to witness this event.
Webcam access is allowed. Okay, good. And then there's the new like there's
I've instructed Yen
there's
Wen to
the new
search
map,
these belongings.
and then
I
there's
hope you can pick some out to place around the stars.
the changes. They added Breeze back,
We'll take care of it as per your wishes, Madam Nicole.
so that's fun.
Once again, my
I'm gonna play
thanks to
today.
all of you.
Actually,
I've asked the judges of the Ten Lords
what
Commission
time? Wait, if you play, do you want to play together? It depends on what time. I'm supposed to talk to Harry as well.
Stargazer Navarro.
Cause I may not take compliments well. You know you could take. Actually, I'm not gonna say that. I'm sorry. But I could give you. Mello, I was gonna say the same way. I was gonna say the same thing. Cause mine is. Supposedly I've been told that mine's is like a bit above average. So I mean. I mean. I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop. Yeah, actually. I need to carry B. You're saying, how can B? I can't carry. Mr. Platt, Diamond, whatever you were. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Wait, I have to change my T-shirt. Just. Do you want to keep them? Cancel.
We're here to help sort out Miss Ting Yun's things. Madame Nicole wants to use some of them for her soul.
Or not. Hello. Did I? Hi.
Well, I've managed to get through pretty much everything
Proof of that claim ain't you,
in this box.
or not of.
Please take your time.
Of it being big size. I'm sorry, I'm out of play. Hi, Watcher. Did Don Hung come back? Don Hung did come back, actually. Actually, but I can't show you guys my tattoo if I do that.
Small box, a knife, a bow, and something wrapped up tight. I wonder what this is. Looks like some kind of antique. But who
Watcher, how are you? Oh snap, hand reveal. B, you're acting like I haven't showed my hands before. I've done it once when I first got a webcam. I used all of my save. You did?
Correctly.
And straight away, Maxim. How is he, Watcher?
This
Do you
is
like
for
him?
you, Mr. Yanming. Wishing you
Is he
fortune
enjoyable?
and success in every endeavor.
Should I get him?
Yanming,
Is my question.
seems like this is a gift for you from Miss Ting Yun.
I remember asking her.
He is worth getting if you lack a second TNT. Oh. Isn't my second D yet? Which account did you get him on?
Kim Yun and I were from different guilds. Competitors,
Properties.
but also
Oh, okay.
colleagues.
Hi guys. That's so fucking weird. If you want to see, this is for Mello. This is at least the main section of my tattoos. That's so fucking small. Goddamn. There's that, and then I have this one right here. I got some right here, but you guys can't like fucking see it. Oh, and I got one like back here. And I have one on my thighs, but I'm not showing you guys my legs. Do you see this? There's one right here too. Shut up, guys. Stop, please. Kozu art cam? Yeah. Holy shit, Kozu cam now. Hi, Dark. I just did this so I can show you guys my tattoos. Hi. Yeah. Oh, there's this one. I can't believe I forgot. This is like one of the first ones I got. And then I have some on my hands. I think you guys have seen my hand tattoos. Guys, you're so fucking cool and pretty. Shut up. Okay, that's it. Shut up. I'm turning it off now. I'm turning it off now.
None of this seems like something Miss Tingyun would have kept. I thought she was more about jewelry and beauty.
As long as you on cam, the hype is real. Right? But like, I can't, Damn. Sorry. Face reveal J, you guys on face... I don't think I could ever do that. I'm looking really messy right now. The nails looking good. Thanks, B. They look a bit grown now. I'm getting them redone tomorrow. But thank you. The nails are so pretty too. Thank you. I need a moment to recollect my thoughts. Fun. Anyway, Danhang's skills are so OP. Honestly, Watcher, if we have 5 more wishes, I think we can wish for him. Because we're at 15 right now, so we're like slowly crawling our way up. If you have him on your NA account, Watcher, I'm gonna use him as a little thing. I'm sure you look pretty regardless. Aw, thank you. I look pretty shit. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Well, sorry, what did you say? I didn't hear you call me. I said hi, Dark. I said you came in now when I freaking turned on the camera to show you guys my tattoos. How are you, Dark? Kudo? Hi, Kudo. Bakozu. Oh, sorry. I can't really do Bakozu. I'm like kind of like congested. I mean, oh, hi, the quizzes. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Kuro, I'll give you back your points. I need to take away bad Kozu impression. LOL, I can't. Like, my throat, my nose, the channel. I'm great. That's great to hear. What about you? I'm like, my head is yeah, I can't think straight. Mainly because I wasn't expecting that. And everything. I'm glad you're doing good. Did you wish for new Danhang yet? LOL. Don't laugh, Kudo. Don't laugh at me. Don't call me names. Don't get your pleasure from my pain. Hydrate, thank you. Danhang's so cool. Did you get him? Oh, Batman stream? Let's back Kozu, but back Kozu voice can't really voice right now. You can't do voice because I'm Batman? You're Batman? Sir, listen, Batman. Respectfully, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. I know they keep saying that it was me, and like, you know, it's always the innocent, it's always the quiet ones. But sir, I promise. Following accent. I can do a Valorant accent. I can't do the moist critical and like the dude, you're actually throwing, dude. You're actually throwing my elo. Bro, stop. You're actually. You guys wanted a camera? Dude, you're actually throwing my elo. You guys said that. How do I remove this? Okay, there we go. You guys wanna know something? One time, I was on a call with a friend. I accidentally turned on my camera. From then on, I always had my camera turned sideways. Actually throwing my elo. Oh god, bro. I need to change back my t-shirt. Give me a second. And then there's like a bunch more other places, but that's not really Twitch friendly, so I can't show you guys those tattoos. Like I have one on my back, and then on my thighs, and then underneath my butt. But I can't show you guys those ones. Nope, I'm saving for how do you pronounce your name? Dark, when is she coming out? Fucking love the Valor accent. Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. Actually killing. That's a lot of tattoos. I think it's like 19. If you guys are lucky I'm feeling the truthful mood, or else I would have lied to you. And if Olivia was here, then like I can't lie if Olivia's here. Because Olivia would be like, cause you know fucking you don't have that many. I'm just like, okay. Damn, we gotta wait for after party stream. After party stream? What do you mean after party stream? What's happening at that stream? Right after Dan Han? Oh, but I mean, Dark, are you guaranteed her, or do you have like enough for her? Friends? Who's this? I'll still be their friend. They seem like a nice person. Yo, people are eating up my luocha. People are... Olivia, how many is it? You got her name wrong, Faye. I don't think I updated her though, so I don't even think she knows the updated number. Like, she knows the previous number. I have to count. Give me a second to recount. Wouldn't you like to know where the boy? Wouldn't you like to know where the boy? Like, it'll stay that number and for like a bit, because my mom is just like, you can't get any more tattoos, this and that. I'm just like, but ma, why not? So now I just get them in places that she can't see. So that's why I can't show you guys anymore. I got enough, but I don't think I'm guaranteed. At least, Dark, you can like start saving up, because especially like with this thing as well. And then they'll also have it for like her character, I'm pretty sure, so that's already like 20 extra wishes right there. If I'm not wrong, I got Luocha last. Honestly, Dark, I think we're gonna give our good luck to you. At least all of our good luck after this. Cause, we want you to get her. I can't pronounce her name, but you know, thanks, man. You're welcome, man. But you have to go to sleep. I think it'll work. I think it will too. It's really hard to lose a 50-50. Well, I don't want to say that. I lost my the first time I got a 50-50, I lost it. I feel like ass tats are the funniest ones because the jiggle physics make them move and I can't help but giggle like them. How many of you guys are here? Okay. Okay, one secret that's alongside that, let's have 2 secrets. I've always wanted to get a tongue tattoo, tongue piercing, but I'll never get it. I also want to get an ass cheek tattoo. It'll be our secret. My NA account did not have. Oh no, Watcher, do you want to get him on your NA account? What? Question mark? Question mark? Okay, I'm gonna play some Valor. We're playing activation. Alrighty, have a good stream. Thank you for stopping by, Dark. I hope your Valor game go. Why is everyone gets to play Valor? Cause I wanna play Valor too. Get the Moto eyes on your cheeks for extra funny points. Oh hell nah. That would be weird. imagine you're just like walking, or like say if you just like you're wearing a swimsuit and then you have the fucking like moto eyes.
More of the Xianzhou? Isn't there a place on
Like
the map
okay, you know like the little like crease where like the muscles like meet, you can get it there, so then like you see it poking out and people are just like, what is that?
It's the main commercial street. Tourists fresh whenever I'm tired.
That would be so weird. It's just like staring at you. And then you'd forget it's there because of like the placement. And then you see it and you jump scare yourself. It's like, oh, what's that? Fucking moto eyes on your ass cheek.
Here it is.
Honored guests, welcome to the Humble Eater.
Exactly.
For you today.
They're like, alright, time to get down and dirty. Fucking met with moto eyes. You're just like, oh, well, that's
She mentioned she wanted to get me a gift.
that's
Probably came across
fun.
Oh, I heard the trade port is open again for business.
I
Really?
feel like it'll scare your partner away. But then you can say that if you found like the right partner that'll like
Speaking of which, it
stay with you and who won't get scared away, then you like know they're the one because they're not scared away by your moto eyes. MG, the same name? The same name? Same with you? Stay? Huh? Watch You Lost Me at same name. From the song. Oh, the song. You have the same name as the song?
What brings you here?
Oh, the person had the same name as the Arthur from the song? Ooh, say the song title.
This fall. Did Ting Yun?
Last Summer Whisper?
She understood my pain.
By Anri.
It's a shame I can no longer do anything.
You say the song title.
30 years ago, I fought in a terrible war. My comrade and I set sail together.
The Last Summer Whisper?
I returned. Scars of that war never truly healed. Still, the law full traced out its arc of recovery.
Either they get more into it or they're done, and if it's the second one, then they ain't the right one.
Tired of voyaging. Like I'd lost the courage to pull on a bowstring.
The second one?
I hid away in the Skyfaring Commission and buried myself in work, never wanting to see the
You
sun.
have it a second time?
Despite rising to
Are we looking for the
military career, hadn't
Luca?
the type of meticulous
Why
planning
is Madame Yukong here?
Ting Yun, on the other hand, was a born she never fought alongside me on the battlefield. In her own way, she became a comrade in all. I used to think that the Xian. I was wrong.
Guys, should we try playing Valorant?
Ready for the ceremony.
I kind of want to play Valorant.
Wait for me!
Who are you?
Miss Ting Yun prepared
If I like turn off everything
fellow ambassador
and it's just stream and Valorant?
our custom.
No, Bessie, I mean if they quit after seeing the eyes, they aren't the one for you.
What
I think I'd quit myself after seeing them. He is? He is?
I know it may
Honestly, watch it. I'm with you.
precious.
Maybe he is the one.
Others in the past.
Play Val. Maybe.
Have a tradition
We're gonna see if there's any changes in like streaming and playing Val now. Cause Mellow, I think like my CPU is like done for, and that's why it's always lagging. But that's what Cube said. But I mean,
much of our lives
if I close everything, like if I close Discord, if I close my tabs,
once again
and we just have like the music playing,
make her very happy.
will it work? And then if B's still here, we can show him the maybe possibly. The new map, we can explore the new map together.
For every
This is the tea that.
Cause I thought it was because of the GPU, but then Cube said that Valorant's a CPU intensive game.
sky-faring
And then so
the soul-soothing
my CPU was running at close to 100 whenever I was playing Valorant. We can try it. I moved you over to my PC number. Know what it's like to get your ass handed to you, but you play low ranks. He for what, Mello? Why are you laughing at me? Don't laugh at me. Don't call me names. But I feel like that could be possible. What if we played? If it doesn't lag, I put so you, ma'am, respectfully, I'm in. You can't be sending those things to me, okay? You can't say it like that. They're gonna get the wrong idea. Kitty pigs. B so you have a cat named B? It's just a love thing on the oh my gosh. They look so cute. Well, I did, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm gonna ask you to refrain from sending explicit photos. Well, what did I hear? Watcher, you didn't hear anything. Watcher, whatever you heard was not correct. His sister's name Mouse. Oh my gosh, Bee and Mouse. Mouse and Bee. That's so cute. I'm gonna cry. Sorry, ma'am, I just can't control my— Ma'am? Ma'am, do I need to put you into the timeout corner? You need to keep your legs and your cats closed. I'm sorry, I'll stop. So today we are playing Can't Put Me in a Place I Reside In. The timeout corner? Why would you want to stay in the timeout corner? Don't you want some chicken nuggets or something? Why don't you make it like a reading, like a cozy little corner? You want some bean bags? Yeah, my mods put me in. How does your mods put you in your timeout in the timeout corner? Isn't that the other way around? The mods put you there? Oh no. Okay. So I'm closing a good chunk of my tabs. I only have like a few tabs open. Let's go. This Valorant. I get off the leash sometimes. They have to. Ah, I see. Especially at like nighttime. Miss Reina, guys, I want to play more Miss Reina. And like during the night, I can understand. Oh, I don't need it. Agents. Supposedly the new Duelist is supposed to come out. Okay, play. Sunset. 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 Hopefully, this goes well, and then we'll be chilling. We'll be chilling. If not, it's the type of thing where I'm hella antigenic and rowdy, and they make sure I behave myself. Honestly, having mods like that is wonderful. Cause then like you're free to be yourself, and then your mods are just like, okay, honey, it's time to come down. Look at it. It looks. This area looks like Split. I'm gonna lie to you. Nasty. Should we play Raze? Let's play Raze. Yes, play Duelist. Do the roar. Granted that I knew it for over 9 years. Oh, it went to high school. Reina, B, you said that too late. No, B, I'll play her next round. Do the roar. And high school and middle school, that's so much fun. Having mods like that are cool, because then they like know you, so like they know what to like. They know. B, you know. Oh, we can play Reina. Should Reina be my character for this act? Should I only play Reina?
Match found.
You reckon that'll change, like that'll alter my brain chemistry? He's my closet bestie after all. You have a closet bestie? That's so cute. Oh, it's nasty again. Vayner main, do it. Actually, B, give me 5 chicken nuggets and I'll do it. Closet bestie is so fun. Can I be a closet bestie too, Mello? I want to be a closet bestie. Also, I'm gonna take out my headphones, so if anything happens with like with the audio, you guys can yell at me. Beef burger? I want a cheeseburger. Should I make a burger for lunch? Guys, I haven't eaten breakfast yet, so
The enemy sky is here, but don't worry. My
breakfast.
robotics will beat her organics every
Oh?
time.
Guys, it's not lagging. Only when I do this, it doesn't hold up. What the fuck? Guys, I'm screaming. Oh. Which one's her? Oh, that one's her dismiss. Oh, I have a free dismiss, but I have to kill, right? Borgor? I said closet best, but you can be my closet bestie. Oh, closest! I'm dyslexic, I'm sorry. I can be your closet bestie. Honestly, this might sound weird, but like being in a closet, like just sitting in a closet is like a comfort thing for me.
Placing sentry.
Like just that close space and like feeling, I don't know, I like it.
Stealing sight.
Oh. Oh shit.
Plant a spike.
It didn't heal? Vase, you have a spike.
I dropped the spike. Reloading. I got the spike. Found them.
Borgor. Yeah, I want a Borgor.
Remaining.
Cheese Borgor. Smexy ass cheeseburger.
Go and meet your mate.
What's the best way to send them nuggets? Actually, you can send them by PayPal, delivery.
Their approach.
I can go over there and get some. If you know what's up. Oh, did you get a new graphics card? No, B, that's the thing. I don't know what happened. Like, I have everything I normally have. I don't know if it's the game changed or... You know, I updated my drivers in my, like, computer. And... So, I mean, it could be that. Because I was trying to figure out whether it was because of the graphics card or the CPU. And Cube was saying how Valorant's a CPU-intensive game. So that I should get a new CPU. So I was looking into that. Cause then if it was supposed to be the CPU, then I would have bought my...
Cutting their vision.
Bomb grenade out.
I would have bought like the CPU and like a new fan. So the fan can keep it cool enough. Cause right now I use the stock fan. And so I would have changed those at the same time. And then saved up a bit more to then change my graphics card. You know? But I mean, it's working. So I'm not complaining. We'll go with Killjoy. I get that though, just being comfy and usual. Yeah! I don't know, it was always like a safe spot for me. Amongst other reasons of being in the closet.
Light the way.
It's a cat in the box.
Stealing sight. Stealing sight.
They're like all on the other side.
Last player standing.
You reckon they're behind me? I don't like this map. This map has too many weird corners.
You're gonna
One enemy remaining.
Like a closet or even just sitting on the living room floor by bro, the living room floor is actually underrated.
Last round to use our creds and abilities. Don't waste your firepower.
People under No, Phoenix!
Let's go. Keep it up.
Need a drop. Thank you.
Phoenix is never good. Kayla Finn's so nice. A box of love. I'll ship nuggets within 10 days. I don't think it'll be good in 10 days. Sheesh, 1v3.
Cutting their vision.
Oh, so we don't want to go here?
Reloading. Cutting their vision.
Oh no. Oh, she got him.
kids are very low.
Oh.
One enemy remaining. Last player
Oh,
standing.
Killjoy. Oh, she's 114. I'm gonna cry. Thank you. Thank you.
What?
Huh?
Clutch.
Are you a girl?
No.
Switching sides.
Drive me crazy, Raze.
NT. Diggy. What if they were? Where's the prime? I don't see a prime. Anyone got prime? Any prime subbers out there? Any prime subbers? I like Kayla Friend. Maybe I could finally play Valorant with you guys. I would be so happy if I can. Prime gamers out there. Oh! Come on, Miss KJ. This was so cute.
Enemy spotted B.
In sight. Spike planted.
Shit!
One enemy remaining.
Lit!
3v1.
Nice.
Careful now.
I'm just kidding, we're chill.
Not gonna lie, you said, like, if I met you in the game, I'd assume you're a streamer or TikToker. You have the voice.
Match point.
Wait, I said that to you? Oh, you sound. Oh, you have the. I have a streamer or TikToker voice? What do you mean? What's that supposed to be? You're calling me a bitch? I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. But not even gonna lie to you, Mello, I've gotten that before.
They want to die.
Like, people have asked me if I stream I think I was playing with Haru like late night. That's like, oh, are you like a TikToker? I'm just like, no, why? It's like, oh, you sound like you'd be like a TikToker or streamer. I'm just like, no, never. Me? TikTok? Never. I don't do such fancy. KJ!
There.
No escape. Got you. Ultimate.
Spike planted.
Oh, you're a
Player
bitch!
standing.
I'm sorry. It means something.
Satchel out.
Really?
Satchel out.
I don't know if that means something good. No! Maybe it is
Going to
something good.
scatter from my stuff. Super easy to.
Maybe I can scam people to buy me the battle pass. Like, hey, look, this is my car. I got a Ford F-150.
Tu l'as?
Oh. Oh shit.
We'll heal their healer.
Your mom though. Oh.
Over
On
there.
my mark.
Barrier deployed.
Wait,
Cutting their vision.
Spotted B.
Cutting their vision.
No escape.
Miss, you blocked us off.
Reloading.
Oh no, she didn't. Miss. I can't.
One enemy remaining.
Over there.
I'm a skinty legend.
Very
Oh,
low.
I like your gun. I'll
He's
take
very
it.
rotating.
Reloading.
Come on, vamonos. Everybody, let's go. Oh shit. I guess KJ's not in their spawn. This spawn looks so fucking cool.
$30 seconds left.
Oh. Jesus. It certainly means something. Is that Pikachu doing like the tongue thingy? Do we take it a step further and try? It looks like it's licking the screen. That looks so cute. 12? Oh my gosh, look at Miss Ray's go. Should we play Spike Rush? Or should we play the map again? I kind of like that map. Cause who carried? No, Mellow, the vase carry. Oh, I only need to play one game? Well, thank you, Mellow. Should I play comp? Damn, they got 12?
Match found.
Cause you carried. I carried from the middle. I got my cute little 1 kill and then my 1v3. I think that's pretty nice. That's pretty fair. No, he took Vayner. Well, I guess we'll play race. You guys reckon I should play the comp game since we only have to play like one comp game? And I mean, it seems to be holding up. But who do I play during the comp game? Omuk? I love Omuk. Should I play Reyna? I'd cry if I had to play Reyna during the comp game. I like Raze, cause Raze got movement. Raze can go play. Actually, wait, I forgot I was supposed to go with my sister today. I could still play a game, I think so. Play Daddy Stone? Daddy Stone? Who's that? Oh, Brimstone? We could play Brimstone. Depends on the map though. If it's like a map that needs smokes, or if no one has like insta, you know what I wanted to learn how to play, Mellow? I want to learn how to play like smokes or like controllers, like Omen at least. Other like a controller other than Viper, cause like not only do people like not have, I can live them, I can live tens. I gotta see a better player than my man. Your man plays Brimstone? I can't have no man outplaying me. I'll be a better Brimstone. Oh, Milk, someone's computer. What if it's my computer? You reckon it's my computer? And like, it like gave us one good game and then it's like, it gives out now. No, you my man who plays better than me. I am? It works. We're in business, boys.
Who else absolutely hates this map?
It takes a bit of getting used to.
I mean, Defender.
It's like a maze.
Yeah.
I hate how there's like more than 3 entrances, but like, or it feels like it. Maybe there's like, no, yeah, there's like 4 or 5 fucking entrances to the site. It's just like, ugh.
It just keeps going.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I do know you're better than me. I don't know about being better than you, Mellow. Oh! Oh!
Spike down B.
Mellow, I think you would be better than me.
Spike down B.
AFK? Well, to be AFK.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, there are AFK. Sorry, I thought that was someone's microphone. I'm like, who's playing that type of music? Those sounds right now. Sorry, I'm anti-romantic. Oh, good job, Miss Reina. I'm on my way. This kind of reminds me of was it Ascent? Miss Viper. Miss Viper, don't type this. Oh, well, fuck me. And your mother's too.
Last player standing.
Oh! Oh, shit. Cause I can't figure out which deck to play for Yu-Gi-Oh! Bingo Spirit. What deck do you have to choose from, Mellow? Let us choose together. Excuse me. Here's another one. Excuse me. Let's choose a deck together. Look at the little drawing right there. I forgot I wasn't Rain. I was about to go heal.
Last player standing.
Guys, why'd you leave me there? I don't think Twitch text box would fit that many. Which ones are you like leaning towards? Like, wouldn't there? Isn't there like a group of stuff that you have to use? You can like, out of how many you have, choose a number between 25 and 36.
I've got your trail.
And then choose a number between...
You are powerless.
Sage! Sage! Oh, fuck me.
Spike planted. Last player standing.
And I'm my wife who saw Big Bingus Spider, Big Buff Women that I play the most. Okay, so you're not gonna play Big Buff Women this time. Play Big Bingus Spider. Big Bungus Spider. Play Big Bungus Spider. Anti brother.
Switching sides.
Like.
You're all more important than words, Marie.
Oh, thank you. 11:26. You reckon you can hop up here? Like someone can boost you up there?
Reloading.
Look, it's so. They have. I feel like Gecko helped decorate this area. They have so much cute graffiti.
Breathe deep.
It's so cute. Sound sensor.
Okay. Reloading. Grenade!
Miss Viper's just confident. Miss Viper just went for it.
No surprises.
You go, girl. Oh no!
Spike down B.
Miss Viper! Nice job, Miss Viper.
Match point.
Combat is a means to an end.
I lied. I don't think I'll play comp. Give me some time to warm up. You reckon I use a sheriff? Oh, Spike's going this way. I'll come this here.
Satchel out.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Well. Oh, well. That's cute.
Spike down A. Last player standing.
Look at her little knife. Her confidence was falsely placed. It indeed was. Like the confidence was like up here. Like up here. I was down here. My short ass. Batman's short. Batman looks short. You reckon I should play my comp game. What color should I make my thing? Let's do white for today. I'm feeling white. And then we could do the one comp game. And then I'll go get something to eat. Oh, we have this? Oh, that one's cute.
Hesitation is.
Okay, let's use this one. I wish that you were able to like change your skin anywhere instead of like just in like this area. I reckon you can play me. I have no idea what that means. I just felt neat. Mello, I don't want to play. That's not nice. I would never play you. I could play with you. We can have a game we can play. A cute little like play a cute little game together. But I'll never play you. Or with you. What do you think this is? Democracy? Even if I act very nicely? Yeah. I'll never play with you. Cause that's not very nice to play with people and their feelings. Also, I am in no position to play with you. I have another person to play with. That sounds so weird. Please completely disregard everything I just said in the past 30 seconds. Back from the depths of thinking. Hi, Faye! How was your lick? How are you feeling? How are you doing? Did it go well, whatever you had to do? Reckon I want to use this one instead. LMAO. Mello, don't say anything. You know who we don't talk about? Bruno. That's who we don't talk about.
Match found.
Lurk was fun. That's good to hear. Music was on very loud. Oh, hopefully not too loud. Are your ears okay? No, please don't play Cypher. I wanted to play Cypher.
Hello.
There's a girl.
What up, baby bro?
Hi. Ew, why'd you call me baby girl? Ugh.
Why'd you call me baby girl?
That's the same thing I said.
I don't know.
But yeah, Jet sucks.
Ew, right? That's what I said. I'm gonna send you cute Yu-Gi-Oh! Art pics because you just so cute. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I would love to see your cute art. Good loud? Okay, good loud. Good. Welcome back. Now we're playing Valorant. Faye, my Valorant's finally not lagging. I was so happy. So like now I don't got, but you know what? I don't know. I might actually no.
Her smokes too.
I'm gonna save money
It's not
and
4
buy
seconds, 2 seconds.
a better CPU later on and just buy a graphics card now.
Super cool.
Ew, not the baby girl, but bleh. Like if someone called me baby girl, I'd be like, but it has to be the right someone, you know? That guy definitely wears a fedora on that. Bleh. That guy's a Discord mod. That guy calls someone kitten. Bleh. I'm sorry. Is that mean? Am I being rude? LMAO, right? And it's not even like those cute fedoras like a Cypher fedora. It's like one of those small fedoras. I'm sorry. We're being mean. I'm being mean. No more being mean. Thank you, Faye. Ayo, BBG, just a fuckboy motion. Why'd you call me out? Why? Bro, that's... Hey. I do like doing me a cute little hey baby girl hand rub lit by the emoji. But like unironically, not like actually like it means anything. Cause I do that to make them cringe. I do that to pick up people and like it worked. That's the funny thing. I feel cut out. Moss called me today Discord kid as a joke. I don't think I could like them if it was unironic. Honestly, it's actually funny because if someone calls you, if you're like the type of person that like you have friends that call you Discord kittens and you're just like, the fuck did you just call me? Like one time I had a friend, he called me a Discord kitten. I'm just like, I'm gonna give you 10 seconds to apologize for what you just said. It's 0 out of 10, don't recommend. Just to remind them that I can. What? Melo's the type of person that does something like cringe just to show dominance. He'll be like, hey baby girl, I can be the alpha to your kitten. I'm sorry, I won't say anything. I'll stop. Look, it doesn't lag. Oh, I'm so happy. It's like, don't make daddy angry. It's like, oh, what are you gonna do about it? You don't want to hear me. You don't want to hear me roar. It's like, I'll do it. It's like, no, you won't. You be like, good. Scrap metal. Ain't no way his name's Scrap Metal. Hey, he's Cypher. Oh? Gecko's dead.
The 90 on deadlock.
Found you. Planted. I must wait a moment. Here.
Cover going out.
One enemy remaining.
We can die a pistol round, right? Oh no, they disconnected.
They'll hit back. Or at least they should.
Oh, why did you guys remake? Reconnected. Okay, but I did actually used to have a fedora and I bought. It was so cool. Oh shit, I have to buy. Remake it. I mean, I guess she's back. Then I heard all the bad stereotypes and tossed it. Is there like bad bad thingies for people who wear fedoras? Like, what are the bad stereotypes besides that it's like cringe?
One enemy remaining.
Here.
Protocol directives satisfied.
Okay, okay, and you can't make me angry. It's like, oh kitten, you can't make daddy angry. I have the same one. I'll use my Spectre until it goes out. And it's the fact that like I hear stuff like that, but like on what's it called? It's like on TikToks, but I don't know if it's done like unironically, like just for funsies. Don't make that. What? Anyways, Nick. Bitch.
I have retrieved the spike.
Oh, no, I got the good gun. Nah, bitch. I got the good gun. Call us. Don't make that have to come and ban you. Ban you! Oh no. Anyways, next. Thank you, next.
Can I get a drop? There.
Cypher, can you buy?
Thanks.
Thank you, next.
There. Tear them down.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
Go, go, go.
Oh, I guess Gecko wants to go see. Oh shit.
Spike down A.
Nice try. I got spike.
Oh shit. This one flank. Miss Vortex missed. She's still healing herself?
Last player standing.
Nice. Oh, 3 ways. Oh, both.
Can someone buy me, please? Reloading.
I can buy for you my treat.
Need a drop.
Would y'all be surprised if I said I don't play Neon? Not really. I wouldn't care. Damn.
Tripwire destroyed.
One enemy remaining.
The Sage always likes to flank.
And you are just a god. Vibe check, we feeling good? Hope so, hope so.
I'm out of here.
Reloading.
Need a drop. Salamat, thanks.
I can buy.
I'm out of
I
here.
can buy for you my trait.
I got their omen.
Gecko loves A. Not again after this.
Go, go, go.
Is that how eco works? Miss Neon, please just don't run. We don't have a healer.
Joke's over. You're dead.
Joke's over. You're dead. In it. I knew Sage was flanking.
I must wait a moment.
One enemy remaining.
Here. Cage triggered.
Grenade. Shortcut.
Is Neon gonna go for her? She always flanks. She has a Spectre though. Maybe she's trying to save her monies.
They mess with all of us.
Gotta go.
What if somebody made like a remix with the Spectre sound? How do you Neon? Oh, I don't know. Okay, you just press any button. Oh, yeah. Walking around because
Cage triggered.
oh, Sage is not flanking this time.
My territory, my rules.
Oh, well. Oh.
Last player standing.
Oh no.
Spike down A.
Miss ma'am. Miss ma'am. Oh. Nice 20. Mistletoe home where you can see it. It's playing at 04. Is that sensitivity? You reckon if we play with a higher sensitivity we'll be a lot faster? Mistletoe home where... Guys, Christmas is coming.
See you on the other side.
I'm excited for Christmas. Once Halloween ends, all I'm doing is Christmas stuff. Nah. But what again? What did I say? I'm so sorry. Oh shit. Oh shit, I'm so bad.
Cage triggered.
Bomb buddy out. Enemy spotted C.
Cage triggered.
Cause like
Joke's over! You're dead!
Here.
That poor Sage.
Shadows traveling.
Here.
Last player
Wait!
standing.
Oh man! Even I can't compete with Daddy Grin Move until I got a little bit of a bit not but
I'm over them.
fingers don't work tonight or today. Jeez, I haven't slept. Mello, why don't you go to sleep? I'm ending stream after this just so you have no excuse to stay up anymore.
I need this.
And also so I could go eat. I'm not tired. You need to lay down in bed. You need to trick your brain that you're tired. And then once you do, it'll well, I'm fucked.
Spike down. C.
That's me. Lady in the Discord playing card games. I did that. You sat in the Discord playing card games?
Last player standing.
Who you play card games with?
Last round before the switch.
Are you guys gonna push me?
Spin like there is
I was stuck behind.
Because there just might not be.
Myself. Oh no.
Thanks.
Oh, you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh? Should I actually no? I'll do this instead. Is there anyone to buy? No one can buy. Because I can only compete with the best, and that's me. You right.
Go, go, go.
Enemy right there. Right there.
Fire in the hole.
Oh, well, that's fucked. Ain't even gonna lie, you're speaking facts right there.
Tripwire destroyed. Our spike carrier is killed. Cage trigger.
Spike down A. Last player.
Her aim is getting better. Which isn't true, but I like to make myself feel good. That's the one thing you can do.
One enemy remaining.
She was flank.
I got spike. I'm out of here.
You gotta hype yourself up, girlfriend.
Almost out.
There's nothing wrong with telling yourself that you're a bad bitch. Even if you may not feel like it. But you are indeed a bad bitch.
Spike planted. Gotta go.
At this point, I feel like even the Sage will flank when they're on attack. Like what? Yeah, one person watching each side, one rotating, and a Sage always on flank. Oh, I don't think she has it. Oh, she does. She halved it. Did no one hit him? I hit him 110. No.
Switching sides.
I hit him 35. He probably healed.
Give me a moment. I need to set back up.
I'm out of here.
Everyone's gone there. I'll go see. Didn't hit him though. Why are any of you going A? It's okay then. Oh, so if no one hit him, it wasn't okay. I don't understand this, Neon. I don't like this, Neon.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
You think they're gonna notice this? Anyone who's back to and he's back to Yes, sir. Yes, please. I like cute cards. Move through all of them while I try to find something to eat afterwards. Oh, there's C.
Spike planted.
Cage triggered.
Last player standing.
Phoenix Heed. Phoenix Heed.
One enemy remaining.
You can deluxe, yeah. Oh,
Coming through.
3 bullets.
they don't tend to defuse. Oh,
Go, go, go.
they're the you know what thing I wish I got? I wish I got this sheriff. Because this sheriff is similar to the arcane sheriff.
I hate making new friends.
And that's the one thing I wish I had. I think it's really cute. I got my good old, or the little Game Boy set.
That goes there. This goes here.
Oh, that's not far enough. You reckon I should stay here? No, I wouldn't stay.
I'm out of here.
Oh, why are we all getting melee rocked?
No more charges left.
I don't have any more.
Goodbye.
Spike planted. Last player standing.
No. This dude reminds me of, there's the one streamer Shido who's doing like the cowboy shift or whatever to like Immortal or something. And nice try.
Listen up. Kill them before they kill us.
I love all of you pushing them. Okay, I agree with that one.
Gotta go.
They like all went for him.
I will find them. Yes, this should do.
Oh. Oh. Oh no. You're just complaining about pushing and then you push it yourself.
Spike planted.
Miss Race, please don't die.
Last player standing.
No.
I can't see them yet.
I'm out of here.
Ready.
Don't push them? Didn't you tell him to push last? I don't understand this dude. It's okay if I lose this game.
Oh, this is a nice
Because we don't rank up on this game. We just place our rank. Then only having to play like one rank game. What? She's 105. Oh my goodness.
Spike planted.
Oh no. Oh, you reckon Sage healed them? Go Miss Race. They're not gonna have time to defuse though. You get ult, that's smart.
Last player standing.
Oh no! Oh, pocket stage action on main, 99. Pocket stage action?
Don't get stabbed. Bad way.
Oh, the other pocket stage. What do you mean pocket stage action on main? I think so, but I don't know if they're pocket staging. Maybe they have pocket stage behavior. We don't have a sage. I need me a pocket sage. The music stopped. Oh no. I'm taking applications for free pocket sage. Oh, I didn't place my camera. Oh. I'm on my way.
You're dead.
Oh, guys, I think I have to go eat something. I'm too freaking tired and brain empty for ranked.
You're going to scatter from my stuff. Super easy to pick off.
I apologize to chat for having to deal with me. I'm still normally like this when I'm not sleep deprived. It's okay. You don't have to apologize. It's fun. Why are you apologizing?
I need this.
Oh, no, thanks. No, sorry. No, I'm sorry. They're like all going to... Okay.
Okay, let's get set up.
We take you in any way, shape, or form that you come in.
Here. Found you. Cage triggered. Cage triggered. Yeah.
Enemy C.
Spike down. C. One enemy remaining.
Oh, that would have been bad if I ran out of bullets.
Mission assigned.
You say something? Sorry. Ears still.
You say something? Sorry, you're still banging. God damn, I would have been scared if I ran out of bullets on that one. How much is Omen? 170? Did he get healed? You know what would have been cool if Omen could heal, like, you know Reaper from Overwatch?
Yes, this should do.
I don't think he heals in his ult, or like when he's like low and then he, you know. It would be fun though. Oh. Cassius hit him? Cassius didn't hit him? Oh, why are we pushing? Guys, don't push, please. Guys, please, guys. Oh, I guess. Oh, yeah. Miss Reyes.
You will
Joke's
not
over.
kill my
You're
ally.
dead.
Oh, okay.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
No!
Spike down.
Imagine.
Phoenix is one shot. 221.
That would have been bad if they didn't win it.
Go. Out of charges.
He says their bullets tickle.
Bullets tickle. You know why the bullets tickle Wingman? Because Wingman's made out of jelly. I think he's made of like lemon jello. And has like different little stuff.
This goes here.
And then Cassius is strawberry or watermelon. The blue one, I forgot the blue one, but she's blueberry. And then there's another one more. The green one, they're like lime. Or like green apple. I can make something else feel like jelly.
Spike down. B.
I need to sleep. Mello, you need to sleep. I need to sleep. We get off this game.
Spike planted. Last player standing.
I can make your mom feel like jelly.
No one beats my
Omen, has Omen not been using his smokes? I was gonna say something, but I'm gonna bite my tongue. I think it might be the best for both of us.
Can I get a drop? Thanks.
An operator. Unless you want to bite my tongue. Anyways.
We will reveal their secrets. Oh, this is a nice spot.
Respectfully, don't think you. But I mean, we could find someone. We could find someone to do it. I'm gonna leave in an hour, so after I eat. Okay. And this will probably be my last game because my sister is leaving soon. Cute cards, ahahaha, yeah, cute cards. So let me get to be like 10 baby. 3 hours ago? How long have I been streaming for?
Spike planted. Last player
I need to go home. Yeah, 3 hours ago. So it's been 3 hours.
Match point.
It's one? Oh wow, damn. What's up? Let's hear it. I look back, it's 1 o'clock. I'm like, damn. Mello, will you fought for the time I thought as well? Time flies.
Yes, this should do.
Keep your guard up.
I feel like I'm still gonna place Iron. I'm even gonna front with you. I feel like I'd still place Iron. It'll be okay though. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna think I'm going there. But really. Time to be flying like Red Bull. Time gives you wings. Oh, well, okay. Because Red Bull gives you wings. I could go for a Red Bull. No sponsor? Unless, if any Red Bull sponsors ever see this, you know, hit me up.
Attackers win.
I can talk. GG easy. Your mom was easy. You guys can see first. Is it Iron again? You reckon? Oh, it's not there yet? Okay. This whatever it's called act, we're getting past rods. Got him. The Iron or the sponsor? I'm tired of this game. I'm leaving. I'm gonna go eat. Guys, thank you for stopping and watching stream with me. Honestly, Faye, guys, I wasn't expecting anything more. I haven't played Valorant in like ages, so I mean, your mom is easy. Oh yeah, but I can't type that fast, so you know, it is what it is. Enjoy food. Thank you. Next stream's gonna be on Friday, and I most likely actually I don't know if I'm gonna play Valorant because I'm gonna get my nails done tomorrow, so we'll see how it goes. You best eat something good. It depends on what I can make in an hour. but we'll see. The game, either Valorant or you guys remember Snowbreak? I've been wanting to play Snowbreak, so maybe we'll play a bit of that. But our goal this act is to get whatever's after bronze. Make grilled cheese. I'm lactose intolerant. I'll make grilled cheese in the night mellow so that I wouldn't feel anything. But I'll promise. Actually, but I'm gonna have noodles later. I'll make grilled cheese tomorrow. So I make grilled cheese. You're better than I am. Whenever I eat cheese, it's like a hit or miss. I either get really, like, I'm in pain, or like I get like slight bloating or something like that. But we'll see. Same. Yeah, no, I hate it. I remember once eating pizza and I was like in pain on the floor, like curled up in a ball. I just like cooking with cheese. Cheese is good. Don't be intolerant of people because they have dairy. Make grilled cheese. What? Faye, what? I'm not intolerant of people. That's what I'm saying. Bro. It's like... I don't want to feel like I'm 9 months pregnant before I even conceived, okay? That's all I want. Cheese is nice though. Damn, now I want a grilled cheese. I'm not making a grilled cheese. Maybe I'll make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something. Actually, I have to have something big. We're gonna be out for a while. I'm gonna go make some food. Thank you guys for stopping by. It was lovely chatting with you, playing some games, you know, hanging out. Cheese zombies from school. Cheese zombies make me think of elementary school, and I hated elementary school. Holy shit. Bye cousin. Bye Mela. Bye Faye. Bye everyone else who's chilling in chat. Thank you all for stopping by. I'll see you on Friday hopefully. If not, then maybe I'll try uploading like a video or something. Bye. Bye. Make sure you guys take care. Get some rest. Drink some water. Do some stretches. Go outside and breathe some fresh air before it gets cold. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.